someone, let's say 98% of their life choosing to love God, and then this last moment not choosing to love God, the probability of that is very low, because that's not the way it works. Because the way the virtues work is you build up habits of love.
The mind deteriorates towards the end of life.
But then you don't have control. Then it's not a sin. For something to be a choice, you have to have full faculties.
Does anyone have full faculties?
Within reason. Yeah. And what we don't have is God takes into account. His justice and mercy are the same thing.
So if someone just like has some chemical imbalance where they have an anger issue problem, then they would be more forgiven in that sense.
There's a difference. So when you're evaluating something as being right or wrong, there's a double evaluation that happens. So the first evaluation is whether something is objectively right or wrong. Then you apply it to this. You apply the subjective criteria, which is, should this person be, to what degree should this person be praised or blamed for the action that they did? And that's when you get into all the mitigating circumstances. So if something is evil by its nature, it can never be good. It can never be neutral. It can only be less bad. But if something is neutral or good, it can become bad. So you can slide down all the way, but you can't slide up all the way. So you can do an act that is objectively good, but the circumstances were wrong, like fornication. So human sexuality, the expression of human sexuality is morally neutral. You can argue it's more good. But outside of the circumstance of matrimony, it has now become, because of that added circumstance, it has now become an evil. But fornication can never become good. That makes sense? So, but let's say someone has a sexual compulsion. Their act of fornication is not going to be as grave, it's not going to be as blameworthy as someone who doesn't have a compulsion. Yeah. This is the way we explain it. God can measure it to the frog's hair.
Right.
So, in any case,
yeah. Sorry about this.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay. That's okay. No worries. But this goes to the same point. Is about God's knowledge in the end. I mean, that's about God's knowledge. What does God know about you? Everything. And so God's judgment about you is going to take into consideration everything. But what if God chose you? What if God didn't choose you? Because it seems that God does not choose everyone. That's kind of what Scripture says. It's not kind of what Scripture says. It is what Scripture says. And we have to deal with that. And the only thing that we can say about it is simply that it doesn't destroy free will. And that and you're chosen from all eternity. Like it's not like somewhere along the road, you helped an old lady across the street and now you're part of the elect. Right? No, it doesn't work that way. It's like you were chosen in the mind of God from all eternity for this destiny. And potentially, this is probably the best way to put it, is potentially there's people out there who are not. The thing is, we don't know who they are. If there are people who are not elect. So maybe that's the best way of putting it. If there are people who are not elect, there is no way for us to know who they are.
Can we know who the elect are, though?
No.
So then how can we even be assured of our salvation?
You can't.
So if you're not chosen, you can never go to heaven?
If you're not part of the elect, you will not go to heaven.
And there's nothing you can do?
Nope, because salvation is a gift. Purely, absolutely, completely a gift.
Seems like one of those people who ask you if you're saved.
But if you are chosen,
Right.
if you are chosen, will you go to heaven no matter what?
No.
Or you can lose it?
You can lose it. of it in the same analogy as choosing good or evil. Is that something that is neutral or good can become bad, but something that is bad can never become neutral or good. So that's kind of the way election works as well.
So how do you rectify that with asking you will be forgiven and follow me and you will spend, I forget the exact quote that basically goes ahead.
I don't know. It's something, it really is in the end something that we haven't figured out. And there's great dialogues about this. In fact, I was looking at a moment ago, the joint declaration on justification between us and the Lutherans. Some of the Lutherans, not all Lutherans signed on to it. But I mean, this is tedious. Like I said, it's only been 2,000 years. That sounds funny, right? It's only been 2,000 years. But seriously, it's only been 2,000 years. And these are things that we don't have answers to yet. If we ever will have answers to. Because there's certain things that just aren't revealed to us. So the best example of that is the most recent example, the one that likes to spark the most controversy, is what happens to unbaptized babies. We don't know. No idea.
So but taking that argument, so predestination was something that sort of like developed over time, like logically, right? Whereas you will be saved if you follow me was a stated fact.
It was. However, the way that was lived out, before we actually started to think about it more and more, that you did have a way of knowing if you were part of the elect. Being part of the elect meant that you were Catholic.
Is that the same now?
Not necessarily.
So I still want you to answer, like, how. So is that the point of faith? Is that to have faith that we are saved, or should we just not know and be in a state of mystery until we die?
That's hope.
Okay.
It's the hope and the promise. Faith is about divine principles. It's about doctrine. It's about we use the term doctrine in a very sterile way. Doctrine is simply truths about the faith. So we have faith in revealed truths, but we have hope in salvation. So that's what's important about hope. And actually, that's why, in some ways, actually, this is really important for us right now. Because my thoughts on the way society is right now is that the one thing that's lacking is hope, more than anything else. There's a poverty of hope in our current society. And the way I always describe this, and people have heard me say it before, is that there used to be a time when we were concerned that people didn't believe in hell anymore. We were concerned that people didn't believe in hell and the devil, or sin. And yeah, we've lost a sense of those things to some degree. But that was a great fear. Now, I don't think that's a problem. Now the problem is, I think that people don't believe in heaven. Which is terrifying to me. Because what it means is that there is no hope. There is nothing to hope in. And that is terrifying. So, what do we do? What is our response to this? Our response is is agnostic, actually. So this is what's important. Actually, this is what's fundamentally important about what we understand about election, about divine election, is that we don't know. That's what's important. That's what divides us effectively from some of the Protestants or some other religions, actually. They claim to know. Whereas we take a position that's agnostic.
Then what do we pray to saints if we don't know if they're there?
We know that they're there.
Oh.
That's why we pray to saints, because that's how they can become saints, is that we know that they're there.
So salvation is only retroactive.
Yeah, that's retroactive. We know they're in heaven. The reason why we know they're in heaven is because of the answered miracles. And that process